Welcome to Tennessee, my brother.
Welcome
to John Cruz Custom Guitars, and glad to have you here.
Awesome, man. It's glad to be here.
All right, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Lots of things to see, lots of need to do. We're in our main office in here right now, which is a little small, tight, confined area, but it's going to be pretty nice when we get it all set up and everything.
Man, I love it. I love the tin.
Yeah, it has that, that
Bandmaster.
Tennessee vibe in here.
Yeah.
We wanted to keep that motif in the shop here, and I think it just ties in pretty well. Hell, we might even use some of this wood to make a couple guitars too now that I'm looking at it. It'd be kind of cool.
Some of this it fits the sort of casino guitars vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We got a lot
yeah.
of sort of similar vibe to our main guitar room back home. So.
Well, I'm really excited to be working with you guys, and hopefully we can make a long relationship out of this and do some really custom guitars with you guys, man. That's what it's all about, and I think it'll be a lot of fun and a good ride on the way.
Well, you know we are a fan of you and your work, and we're excited to be a part of what you got going on. And
thank you very much. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Cool. Walk out to the shop here. So basically using our typical woods at this point right now are alder and ash. These are just some test pieces that we're running for right now because we're really honing in our skills for making bodies and necks here. Typical Indian rosewood that we're going to be using for our rosewood fretboards.
Awesome.
On maple. Most of my necks, if not all my necks, will be quarter sawn maple. Really tight grain is what I really like. Stability, that's a big thing with me, and something that's not going to twist on a weird rainy day or Santa Ana winds or that kind of stuff. But we'll be getting into like some figured woods and stuff as we move along down the thing. But I really, in my opinion, I think the really highly figured woods belong on furniture personally.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But some people want to have a nice figured top on a body. We can do that. We're gonna learn to do that kind of stuff here, and show people that we can offer those kind of guitars as well, and some really exotic woods as well. But for the entry-level guitars that we're doing right now are alder, ash, mahogany. We're talking about doing the figured maple, roasted maple. We'll be using a lot of that as well. I love the look. I love the sound of it. It's a little bit harder to work with because screws can break off really easy in a roasted maple.
Wow.
Or it just happens. It does happen. If it's not drilled correctly, you try to drive a screw in it, it splinters, it breaks, screws break off in it. Yeah, it's... But if you know how to work on it, I've had a lot of experience doing that in my last place, and we'll be offering those kind of woods as well.
That's cool. You know, a lot of people I don't think realize when you start talking about like roasted maple, or we were talking about earlier, just all the work that goes into things. People think, oh, it's roasted maple. Why is it more expensive? Well, that's a great point. Like if you don't know what you're doing, you can ruin screws. It's harder to do what you want to do.
I think there's a certain aspect of sound of that wood as well.
Right.
It rings really well because it's nice and dried from the inside out.
Gotcha.
There's an airiness to it that just I can't explain it. It's hard to explain because I'm not like the wood scientist guy. You know what I mean? But it does have a really good sound and a gorgeous look. You don't have to tint it or anything.
That's
right. Spray clear over it and it looks beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to be getting some of that wood and start working with it here and offering those kind of new guitars from us here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, what's cool about what he's doing here is like he can run a CNC, he can do other things. Like right now he's fretting a neck, so he's got it's all in one confined little area that he can do a bunch of multiple task things at the same time, which is great.
Perfect.
Fender, they would have like 10, 12, 15 guys doing, 3 or 4 guys would be doing frets, another guy would be running the CNC machine, one guy would be sanding. It's just we don't have that luxury to do that here. We have to dip in and do it, and a lot of it's tasked on him doing this right now, and he loves doing it. Jack of all trades. It's great.
Man, we get that because we'll go from shooting the videos for the week to cleaning the toilet or plunging the toilet broke again, guys. Let's see if we can fix it. Yeah, we have a lot of.
He's on plunge duty.
It's a whole thing.
Talk to us about. We were talking before about stainless steel frets and why it's so hard to do stainless steel frets.
Yeah, stainless steel frets. It's a great invention. Whoever came up with it. It's a long-lasting fret, probably a lifetime lasting fret, but what they don't realize is it's a pain in the butt to put into the guitar. I did a few of them while I was working at my last place, and I ruined a lot of hand tools, a lot of extra, movements and filing and stuff like that, and it wears out your muscles
Sure.
after a while doing it when you have to do a lot of them. But it's definitely a good fret to use for something that you don't want to have to do continuous refrets and that stuff. It's a long-lasting fret. It has a little bit of a different sound as well, I think. It's a little bit more, to my ears, a little more tinty and high-end type sounding for my ears.
Sure.
But somebody might tell you, that's not true, but it's just what I hear when I use it. But there's definitely an art to putting those things in and knowing how to do it and how to cut them. You got to have good cutters, the files, of course, and how you sand it and everything. It's a lot different than working with the nickel frets and stainless and nickel. It's two totally different things. But we do plan on offering those frets. If somebody has to have them, we'll do that.
Yep.
But we usually use the nickel frets that work fine for what we do. We are using a bigger wire. Nickel vintage ones, people will just mow through them, and
Sure.
you have to refret them and redress them all the time. So that's why I'm using the 6100 wire on a lot of my stuff. I think it's a good big fret that'll last a long time if you dress them right and everything. They play great. They're beautiful for a long period of time. But we will have that where we will be able to offer a stainless steel fret as well.
Fantastic. Awesome. You know I love sparkle. This is silver sparkle over black, and it is ridiculously awesome. Check that out.
This one actually looks really bitchin' in the light too. When the light hits it a certain way.
Yeah. What color would you call this?
This is just an orange metallic color, and this is the two colors that I chose out of our book that I really wanted to have a metallic color and pearls mixed together. And this kind of just reminds me of the Tennessee balls, school colors, I really wanted to do something and maybe have a guitar played at opening, which is this weekend. We'll never have it ready, but to have the Tennessee ball tee on there would have been great. But a lot of legal issues and stuff, I didn't want to get that. But I just love the color, and it just kind of shows that this is Tennessee, man. We're here in Tennessee. I think this will be a really cool guitar that shows that.
I was going to ask you about some of the colors.
Mhm.
You were telling me earlier some of your colors, like you might think it's a candy apple red, but it's not. It's a little different, and I think that's cool. But do you mind telling us about the blue with your dad? Because I think that's awesome.
Oh yeah, one of the blues that we did on the very first prototypes is called Gulfstream Blue.
Yeah.
And my father, who was also in the auto industry painting cars for many, many years, one of his first cars that he purchased was an old Pontiac, and he wanted to repaint it, and he painted it that color. It was a Gulfstream Blue. It had a white stripe on it. Then he told me about this years later, and he didn't have any pictures to show me, but I looked the color up and I found it, and I loved it. I says, after he passed and everything, I said, I want to do a kind of a tribute to him as far as the color, and so I painted one of my guitars that color and the stripe and everything, and now we're carrying it over to my brand of guitars, and we want to do it with that, and just to kind of honor his name.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think there's a long history of that sort of car guitar connection.
Absolutely.
I think it's cool that you guys are carrying that on.
And we're looking to do some different colors and stuff as well, to show that we're a little bit different, that we can play around with different colors. And having Phil here doing that, he's got a lot of colors in his little machine over there that we haven't even touched yet, that we're going to start bringing some new colors in, some exciting colors. I'm going to let him run with some metallic colors that he likes to shoot on cars. Why not bring them to guitars as well? I think it would be a great thing to have out there.
Very cool. It's exciting.
Yes. Another one. See how it kind of explodes in the light.
I mean, that's just gorgeous.
Yeah. Painted that.
What do you think, Johnny?
Man, I love it. I love everything about that. One of those might have to be in my future.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad, when I was a kid, they painted a lot of cars.
Yeah.
Did a lot of old, 50s, 60s.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, we were working out some of the tint colors on scrap pieces of wood and stuff to kind of get the tint that I was looking for. You can see that we were close on this, but this is the color that I originally wanted to get. And then with our, battle axe type finishes, we're able to do the old smoky type look that I wanted to get on some of these. So yeah, there's a lot of R&D like on the colors and stuff like that on pieces of wood that we practice on here, which is great to have that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like when we're starting to work on sunburst and stuff, I wanted to have like a different type of yellow on it that kind of matches better with the alder or ash, depending on what we do. And you know, Phil was kind of new to painting this type of color. I think he's doing a really good job on it. We've nailed a couple of 3-tone sunbursts, and I said, these are great, man. They look great.
Everything I've seen looks fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you, man. And my hat's off to these guys that are really taking it and running with it. He came from a car background.
Right.
Now he's actually putting his expertise and 40 years of painting into doing guitars now. It's a different thing, it's a different animal. We will offer urethane style finished guitars, which he's known for with cars, with urethane obviously. Lacquer's a different animal for him. He's learning it and he's picking it up very well. So I'm really proud of him and happy to see what we're going to be coming up with in the future.
Very cool.
This is our Lesson-all paint camera we have that we can pull up pretty much any color that, like on an older guitar, it'll give us a faded version of it or a newer version, or pretty much anything we need to do with this camera. It'll pull up a copy of the formula for it.
So essentially,
really close.
You can just color match
pretty much everything.
Wow.
Yes. There's been a few colors, but most of the colors they will match it.
That's really cool.
It's a great tool to have. It's really an asset in this business.
Oh yeah.
These are all guitars that we're working on right now that'll be coming up in the next week or two that we'll be finishing up on. I still have some more details to work on them, of course. The necks, I'm still working on to age those. They've already been dressed, leveled and dressed and everything, so there's just finishing touches of installing our plates on here and oiling my boards and you know, doing the dots the way I like to do them and just finish up all the details I like to put into the necks will be coming up this next week. So we're trying to do things in batches of 5 to 7 a week. We can do that and we keep rolling with that. I think eventually our numbers will start going up a little bit more, start to be able to feel comfortable putting out probably 10 a week, hopefully. That's what we're pushing for right now. So this is one that we're working on right now. The Battle Axe finish, obviously a well-played guitar. Guy didn't give a shit. He's gonna play this thing at the bar. I'm trying to figure out a way to make it smell like an old bar with the cigarettes and the alcohol and stuff on there. Maybe we could sprinkle some of that stuff in the case to give it that vibe, you know.
I love it.
Well-worn neck. It's going to be like a lot of finger wear on this one. I'm working on this one right now. I'll probably finish it up either today or tomorrow.
Is that one going to a shop near us?
This is going to a shop very near you. In fact, it's going to you guys. So yeah, when we finish this one up, this will be your guys' guitar. You can see the single ply pickguard that'll be going on there with our special design 60 style or 50 style pickups on this one. But you can see all the details of the wiring and everything that I like to do on my pickups. This is our own design pickup. We're using the red bobbins, 5-way switch, the Dunlop pots that we're using. I really like these ones because they're encased. You don't have holes in them to get dust in them and stuff like that, so you don't get that scratchy thing. And I like the sweep on these too. The sweep through volume and the adjustment of tone works out really good. It sounds really good. I just think it's a great pot to use. So I'm using those on all my stuff right now. Copper backed plating for right now. Just a great setup. I think it's just it's going to work out really good for us for the overall sound of the guitar. And you know, with that and combining with the wood and the way the necks fit into the pockets, everything will be nice and tight. We're using Goto bridges right now. Awesome. With the high wood saddles. I really like those because I don't like the screws sticking up on the top. I'm one of those guys when I play, my palms always down here, and I always used to get cuts on my hands and stuff like that. People complain about that stuff, so I remember. Yeah. So I'm really good friends with the guys from Highwood, and they sent me, hey man, we'd love you to use our saddles. Well, send me a set, let me try them out. I tried them, I loved them. And they look very vintage still, the same thing, but I can age them the way I want to and put them on there, and there's no screws protruding out of the top. I think just a great fit. And also, I also like this bar, be able to adjust the tension on it. Old style vintage bars, great, the way it was in the beginning, but taking the bar in and out, it's eventually going to wear. Sometimes the bars break off. Yep. You won't have that with this thing here because you can tighten how tight you want the bar to move loose or tight, and I think it's a great thing. And the block is nicely machined, vintage spec, you know, so the ball of the string sticks up towards the top like early vintage stuff. So, you know, Goto did it, man, and they pull it off, and I really enjoyed their bridges and plan on using their stuff a lot more. We're also going to go into like more of the metal guys are asking me about Floyd Roses. Are we going to use Floyd Roses? Absolutely. I would like to get into the old Floyd Roses with the non-fine tuners on them.
Yep.
Guthrie Govin's guitars are using those. I would like to use those on some of mine, as well as some of the newer Floyd Rose Pros. We'll use those and originals. But yeah, I'm really excited to get going on those with the Floyd Rose because I'm a huge Floyd Rose fan as well.
Awesome.
But a lot of new designs and stuff that we're working on in the future here, and I think it'll be a good thing. But yeah, this will be the offering coming to you guys, and I got another one that I'm working on. It's not quite ready yet, but I'll have it probably by next week. It'll be finished up and ready to send to you guys.
You guys heard it. He said that I need to take it out and play it in some bars so it smells right. Baxter.
Yeah, you're up.
Only because John said I had to. I mean, so I guess I will. It's fine.
There you go.
It's fine.
So yeah, we meticulously take apart all the bridges and do the aging on them and stuff like that before we reassemble everything. That's one thing Goto won't do for us. They won't sell us like aged bridges or anything, and I'd rather have the ability to do that here, so I can do a little bit or I can do a lot. I can do the things that I used to be known for doing in the past.
Awesome.
I like doing that kind of stuff here.
That's really, really cool.
Especially with the saddles and all that stuff. I got a certain way that I like to age them, and yeah, it's a little bit more work, and I'm teaching her so much. She's learning so much on how to take them apart and do all that stuff for me.
So John, there's a misconception that aged hardware does not perform as well as brand new hardware.
Not so. If you do it right, I mean, in the old days, when we were first doing the vintage saddles and stuff, we would dunk everything and get it all to age and sticky and rusty and stuff, but we didn't realize the screws were rusting up inside the saddles and you couldn't get them out. We're stripping bridges, we're stripping all the screws. So now I take all the screws out and just oil them really good, and then we put them back into the vintage saddle, which nobody's really looking at the screws to see if they're aged. If we have to age them, we can blacken them up, make them look old, but I don't think that's part of it. I think just the look of the patina of the saddle and the bridge plate, that's the main thing of the guitar. I want my bridges to be fully functionable and adjustable and nothing ever going to freeze up on them at all. So
I was just having that conversation with a customer the other day. We're talking about speccing out a guitar, and he was afraid to order, aged hardware.
Yeah.
For that reason that Derek said, a luthier had told him, well, the screws will be rusted and it won't be functional. It's just more artistic. But and I told him the same thing you just did.
Yeah, no.
It's done well.
I've seen that where screws have frozen up, or over time they'll break on you, or I can't adjust it, man. They have to send it back. We have to give them a new saddle. But I'm trying to avoid that at all costs. He's going, I want these things to be fully functional from now to 10 to 15 years from now. It still works.
Right.
Is there a different sound in it? Not really to my ears.
Right.
Maybe to some scientists out there, I hear a sonic difference, and that's
Eric
not
Johnson.
me. Yeah, Eric Johnson. Yeah,
He hears it.
put the 9-volt battery this way, and the cord's got to plug in. Yeah, it's not that at all. But I think the main thing here is the functionality of the guitar and the parts and everything in between, to make sure that everything leaves here working in tip-top condition, and it'll be that way for many years for the customer. That's what we're about here. I have to get a new pinstripe tape for this one, but because it's kind of bubbling up, and I think this is old tape, but I got some new stuff on order right now. I'm going to take it off and I'm going to redo it again. But I just thought it's kind of a cool color. I wanted to offer that.
Yeah.
And this is a metallic. It looks like just black, but it's metallic. When you see it both together with top coat on, it's just going to explode and look really nice. But this would be a cool one to have maybe in Carolina, or anybody that's like a Panther fan or something like that. Aren't their colors like very similar to this?
Really, very similar. Yeah.
And it was the same thing with the Tennessee Vols. They have that color, and I'm thinking, man, if we could do a series of guitars like this, I think it'd be kind of cool to offer something a little bit different,
Yep.
So, and Phil's like all excited to do these kind of two-tone colors, and like it says, vintage classic cars are like my thing right now. I've been seeing a lot of them around. Some of the old retired people drive those cars around here. I'm like, man, I'd love to do a color like that with the the burgundy and then the blue mist. Those type of colors mixed together looks just amazing. So we're going to be exploring those things here as we go on.
Very cool.